Recorded live right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's time again for Larry's rants, raves, and reviews. And now here's Larry.
Well, folks, if you did not hear the last episode, stop right here. Right. Get back to the last episode, our part one with EnRico. We've got a special guest tonight, EnRico, and we're going to turn him loose. But I've got to say, and I said this last episode, I don't know when we've had someone sit in this chair and talk with this kind of passion.
Right.
Okay. Wouldn't it be refreshing, Randy, if we had Americans that talked with this much passion towards our own country?
We're trying to find them.
Yeah, we are.
We'll put them on the show.
We are. EnRico, welcome back, and we're gonna turn you loose now. I will say that when we got to the studio tonight, I walked in and we introduced ourselves, and all of a sudden we recognized EnRico and I had actually met before, because he and his beautiful wife came in for lunch at our restaurant, Bobby's Country Cooking, and I remember that day because you walked in and I'm at the register and I got to introduce you, and he said, "Hey, we just moved from Florida," and they went out and had their seat, and I was actually talking to Carol, and I said, "Carol, that poor couple just moved from Florida to Little Rock, Arkansas. Why in the world would they do that?" And I think EnRico kind of alluded to the fact earlier that he had kind of that burning bush moment that said God was putting him here in Little Rock. And I am so happy that he did, because we can have this conversation. But EnRico, we want you to just have at it. We talked about, Randy, what was your question last episode?
We, on the October 7th, we only got a portion of what we saw on the news, and that was, a lot of it's very liberal, and they only let certain things come through. But kind of step us through maybe what happened, or what happened after that, and how. I also wanted to ask you too, how Trump's policies and him working with you guys changed the war. Did it stop? Did it actually stop over there? Or is it stop? So go back to October 7th and give us a kind of a brief rundown on that.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, thank you for having me. This is wonderful. October 7th, pivotal moment in Israel history. So on the 7th of October 2023, at around 6 a.m., in the south of Israel, right where the border with Gaza is. And for anyone who doesn't know, Israel, so Gaza was just, or the Gaza Strip was just a part of Israel up until 2005, right? The disengagement from Gaza happened as a part of what was supposed to be kind of like a peace deal, right? Land for peace concept, like what we did with Egypt, with only one difference. With Egypt, it actually relatively worked. With Gaza, it was a complete fail because it was basically very quickly became under the control of Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization, obviously was created by the Muslim Brotherhood with one sole purpose, the destruction of the state of Israel.
Okay.
Right. On October, so basically you're looking at 20 years, almost 20 years of rocket fire into southern Israel, Israelis having to live with severe sense of uncertainty. Their lives are basically up in the air all the time. Imagine this, you're a kid and you go to school in southern Israel in the city of Sderot, and half your day you have to spend in a bomb shelter.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Which, by the way, a lot of Americans don't realize this, but Israel, and you're a contractor, like you'll get this. It's, in order to be up to code, you have to have a bomb shelter in your house.
Wow.
Any house in Israel. Not just in
Really?
the south. You cannot, like, they won't let you build a house if you did not plan for a bomb shelter.
My goodness.
My room actually was in my dad's house was the bomb shelter. After
we
my
have
mom passed
tornado
away.
shelters here. I'll build just a few tornado shelters, and that's, I think out of all the building I've done about 4 or 5, and that's not many. I mean, that would be the same thing. It's concrete all around, steel doors, and the whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
mean,
every house, that would be amazing.
Every single house. I mean, look back in June of last year, right? The war with Iran, the 10-12 day war with Iran. All those ballistic missiles that landed in Israel, right? If it weren't for the bomb shelters, if it weren't for those, I mean, we would have had a lot more damage and, God forbid, casualties. But,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm telling you this, I had to kind of preface it. I have to
put it
basically
out
say,
there.
look, this already existed pre-October 7th, 2023, right? Like, it's already hard to live in the South. You already have to live with constant rocket fire from Hamas, and uncertainty, right? Like, I think I mentioned it before, when I drove my car, right? I couldn't drive my car with the windows closed because you have to be able to listen to the sirens, right? If there's a missile coming, you have to stop the car, get in a ditch, right? So that's already existing, right? Like, that is the pre-existing condition to October 7th. And at that point, there was still a sense in Israel, especially in the south, of, oh, it will be okay. One day we will have peace. The people of Gaza want peace. They won't do any, and Israel was helping them a lot, right? Like, all the aid trucks, all the money that we sent. But we didn't have that much human intelligence in Gaza, so which meant really we didn't know exactly what the situation actually was. The situation was really, really, really bad because they used all of the money to build their terror infrastructure, right?
Wow.
Hundreds of miles. So I think the IDF spokesperson actually compared the tunnel system under Gaza to the New York subway system.
Good grief.
Now, that turns fighting into something impossible, right? Because, I mean, and it's also the mostly dense populated place in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Close quarter combat, that's all you do. But now also you have terrorists popping from under the ground and shooting you. Everything is booby-trapped, right? Like, they actually... Look, Hamas knew it was not going to win a war against Israel. Let's face it. They knew it. They knew they were going to give us a pretty good hit, right? Like, they're going to get us pretty good. On that day, October 7th, the Nova Party and their invasion of all the southern kibbutzim in the south, they killed about 1,200 people. They killed 1,200 Israelis. But they knew that they're not going to be able to win a war against Israel. Obviously, within a day, Israel pretty much took control over the whole situation. But what happened next is really what we have to talk about. Before and after. Because before, some Israelis still believed that peace was possible. What happened after is that realization, that really hard slap to the face, we do not have a partner for peace. There is no partner for peace. Because if you can give them the land back, if you can say, before 2005, Gaza was just like any other mixed city in Israel. I remember going with my dad to the beach to eat hummus in Gaza. Like, it was just like Tzfat, like Akko, like Haifa. It was just like any other city. But okay, you want that city back? We gave it back to them. We believed in that land for peace concept, right? What a terrible mistake.
Yes, it was.
Because 2005 we gave it back to them. 2006 Hamas wins it's the election in Gaza. What happens the following days? Hamas, which is also a party in the Palestinian Authority, right? It's a party in their parliament, throws Fatah members, which Fatah was in control or Fatah is still in control over the West Bank, or what we call Judea and Samaria, under the leadership of Mahmoud Abbas. Hamas through its own Fatah members, so basically Palestinians, right? We're talking about Palestinians, just from a different party. From 14 floor rooftops, and then dragged their bodies in the streets of Gaza. They killed their own people in those brutal ways. What did we expect them to do to us? If this is what you do to your own people, what did we expect them to do to us?
Yeah, really.
The brutality that they expressed, I think, is what we forgot, right? Because what happened on October 7th, when Hamas terrorists came into Israel and murdered and kidnapped and raped and just in savagery that is unimaginable.
Yeah.
Israel that day understood, yeah, there was no peace.
Right.
Like,
There's no way.
Nope.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. There's just no way. And then it took us a couple of weeks to even, or almost a month, to really start an actual response, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we realized very quickly that, and we've known this for decades, but I guess we even ourselves forgot. We value human lives more than they do, right? Just like Golda Meir said back in the 70s, when the Palestinians love their children more than they hate us, we will have peace. But they don't. They hate us more than they love their children. And that is the truth, because they're using their children as human shields. They're firing rockets at us from hospitals, kindergartens, schools. I mean, they're basically breaking every international law of rule of war, right? They're breaking everything. The world is absolutely blind to it. For some reason, the world just wants to focus on how bad Israel is, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the ratio, we've kept an incredible ratio that no other country was even able to keep. We kept it at like 1 to 3, right? One terrorist to 3 civilians, right? This is unimaginable.
Uh-huh.
So when you think of all the measures that Israel took to defend Palestinian lives, to minimize casualties, sending our own infantry, let's face it, sending our own infantry into Gaza was suicide. You know that they're ready for you. They've planned this for years. They wanted us to do this because they counted on our empathy. They counted on us valuing human lives more than they do. In a way, they're like, oh, those stupid Israelis, they're gonna fight clean. We're gonna fight as dirty as possible, as dirty as possible. Anytime,
That's because they're not warriors; they're terrorists.
they're terrorists. They're absolute terrorists. They're not. There's nothing soldiery about them. They're not
at all.
warriors. These people. And you should have seen it. I mean, when you look at their cameras, right? Because they filmed it themselves. They wanted to tell the story. They're proud of it, of what they did on October 7th. When you look at those videos and you see that they were in this state of mania, is that a word? Like craziness. Like they took drugs. They were so brainwashed to just go into Israel and kill everyone. Now, more than that, Israel used to give the people of Gaza work authorizations to come into Israel and work. I remember going to the kibbutzim. Some of my friends in the kibbutz, would have Palestinians from Gaza working in the kibbutz. They would even invite them to Shabbat dinner, right? They would naively ask them like, oh, how's it going in Gaza? Are you guys building? Like, how's it going? Are you doing okay? All they were doing was going and working in those kibbutzim in the south so they can map them all, learn where the armory is, learn where all the generals live, where the people live, so they can go on October 7th and take out as many key figures as possible and basically maximize Israeli deaths. That's really all they were doing. So now you're having this moment. October 7th happens. Israelis understand, well, there's no peace. There's no trust, too, right? Like, I don't trust you anymore at this point. Sure. Not that we ever really did trust them, but now it's completely nuked, right? Yeah. Like, any kind of conversation about peace is no longer on the table, right? But now, here we are, Israelis, thinking like, wow, we were just attacked in the most brutal attack on Jews since the Holocaust.
Yeah.
We thought, and again, naively so, that the world would be on our side. The world was on our side for a split second.
I was amazed when they turned. I will be honest with you. And let me say this. You've been to the restaurant after October 7th, okay, and I don't know what day that was, but it was a day or two after, had a guy come through, and I'm obviously at the cash register, and I said, hey, how are you doing? He goes, well, I'm really worried. I said, what are you worried about? He goes, well, this thing with Israel, I'm afraid that they're going to overreact. And at that point, I almost passed out. I said, excuse me? He said, I'm afraid they're going to overreact and they're going to really, go after. And I said, let me say something. I hope to God that they take every bomb that they've got, load them up, and go over there and bomb the ever-loving crap out of them. And I said, I hope that America stands with Israel to the point we start flying more bombs over there and bomb that place to bits. And I said, then let me ask you this question. Did you stand back? What would your feelings have been when 9/11 happened if somebody would have looked at you and said, I hope America doesn't overreact?
Wow. Wow. I mean, anyone that said anything like that to me, I said, well, what is?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we just go into Gaza and rape and murder 1,200 people? That's what we do? Is that a proportional response?
Right.
Right? I mean,
Right.
I don't know. You tell
No.
me. Because if that was your kid who died,
Yeah.
if that was your kid that they murdered and
Yes.
raped and
Yes.
and paraded the streets of Gaza, what would you like to happen to them? Please, you tell me. What's your option?
Yeah.
Because there's this sense that America helps Israel, and it does. America, because we're allies. I mean, we're America's most strategic ally in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But also, Israel doesn't ever take anything for free. It's all subsidiary. It's all basically any dollar that America gives Israel is so that Israel can use it to purchase American things. So the money goes back into the American economy. Israel cannot and will not use a dime out of those dollars to purchase something from a different nation. It's basically saying, here's funds that you can basically put back into my economy because we're allies and we want to support each other. And I don't remember who said this, but the amount of just intelligence alone that Israel provides to America would cost America tenfold to produce on its own. Because Israel shares everything with America. Intelligence, technology, anything that Israel invents, America gets.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be. And when people said the whole overreacting thing, I'm like, I don't think we overreacted. In fact, I think we showed a lot of how do you say it in English? Restraint. We showed a lot of restraint.
Yes.
Because I can tell you, the equivalent of like a terror attack on American soil would be if Mexico or if the Mexican cartels invaded Texas and took out and murdered and butchered 40,000 Americans, 40,000 Texans. What would be the appropriate response for that? I'd say take over Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't act right, right? You can't act right. 40,000 Americans. That is the proportion. That's the ratio. 1,200 Israelis were butchered by Hamas. And again, we're talking about internationally, it is a recognized terrorist organization created by the Muslim Brotherhood. That's the sole purpose why they even exist. Why do, sometimes, that saying, if someone tells you who they are, believe them. Right?
Okay.
Believe them. They told us who they were. They told us this is what we're here to do. Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit and go into has Hamas been eliminated now? Where are we at from that point to now? Where is it at now? And have they been eliminated?
So mostly, yes, right? So I mean, pretty much at this point, Hamas's power or control over the Gaza Strip is pretty much eliminated. There are still Hamas operatives. Obviously, there are still people in Qatar that are leading Hamas, that is current Hamas leadership. The IDF is in control of the Strip. The IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, it's still in control of the Strip and working with clans in Gaza that actually want to throw over Hamas and want to work with Israel in order to establish somewhat of a life there for Gazans. Because again, we have to remember, Israel's goal was never to destroy Gaza.
Right.
It was never.
Right.
I mean, if we wanted to
Hamas.
do that, exactly, it's to destroy Hamas. It's everything we did was very, very precise.
You didn't want to destroy that because that's your own land.
Right.
And like you said, you gave it away in this peace, thinking that it would help.
Right.
I have an ex-pastor, Alton Garrison, that when he would preach on this type of a subject, he would always say, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the land. Because God said he would give this land. He knows the map. Mm-hmm. This is your land. This is the land that he promised. And for you to give part of it up.
I mean, we can talk about any peace solution that was presented to the Palestinians since the establishment of Israel, of the modern state of Israel in 1948. They've had multiple options to accept a two-state solution. Even when Israel made severe land concessions, and even it was actually against Israeli interests to accept the deal, we accepted it. Mm-hmm. But the other side didn't, and then started fighting us. So I say this: stop trying to kill us. Stop trying to kill us.
Yeah,
that is the bottom line, because we're not going anywhere.
Right.
Israel and the Jewish people of today are not the same Jewish people back in the Holocaust and World War II. We do not go to the camps. Mm-hmm. We do not go. If you fight us, there's going to be a fight back. That is the bottom line. Now, when people talk about proportionality, I'm like, you realize war has to be won, right? By one side, which means that it's not going to be proportional because one side wins.
Right.
And I think, I say it all the time, and I'll continue to say it. Israel doesn't just have, because everyone says, oh, Israel has the right to defend itself. I just add and win to that sentence.
Yeah, and win.
I just add and win. I have the right to win.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have the right to defend yourself, but just don't go too far, right? Yeah. No. I'm going to go all the way that I need to go.
Do you have the right to win?
That's what I say. We're going to go as far as we need to go to eliminate our enemies. That's how far we should go. And look, let's talk about the Trump-Netanyahu alliance, which has been fantastic. I mean, Trump and Netanyahu are like a pair of just strategy, brilliant minds, because every time it was like they thought 10 steps ahead, right? Every time something was feeling like, oh, what's happening? This is not good. Then boom. So, oh, okay. Now we understand why that happened, right? Even now, when the thing about Netanyahu asking Trump to hold off on an Iranian attack, I'm sure that there is something behind the scenes there, because they've already proven to us that every time they say something to the media in front of the thing, it's because they're saying something else in the back, in the backseat.
Oh, that's a mess over there right now.
Yeah,
that's a mess.
I mean, look at Iran and what's happening right now, right? Israel stands with the Iranian people to throw over the regime, right? Mm-hmm. The Iranian people stand with Israel. Look at them; they're waving Israeli flags in the streets because they understand that. And I'll say, my message to everyone is, we have to stand together and we have to prioritize our battles. And this is what I say to the Jewish community too. I say, look, there's a war coming and it's knocking on our front door. We have to have our priorities straight. When you go into IDF counterterrorism school, one of the first things they teach you is priorities in fighting. There's no point, for example, and you'll get this, in shooting into the deep, 300 yards away when there's someone firing at you from 10 yards away, right? Take out the person that's 10 yards away from you first, right? And then shoot deep. So when you think about all those enemies and ideologies and these toxic ideologies that are threatening the Western world. Jewish people are the Western world. We're part of it. We are part of the Western world that we have contributed to for decades now. Look at all the Nobel Prizes that we hold. Look at all the technology. You like using GPS? Well, you have Israel to thank for it. You have the Jews to thank for it. You like eating cherry tomatoes? Well, you have the Jews to thank for it, right? Like a lot of the things that Israel never holds anything just to itself. It doesn't keep anything, at an arm's length. It shares it with the world, right? I know Lieutenant Colonel, and he's actually coming to visit in April. And if you'd like, I'd like to have him here talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel Eyal Dror, the commander of Operation Good Neighbor in Syria from 2016 to 2018, IDF's biggest humanitarian operation under fire behind Syrian borders, where Israel saved Syrian citizens from Syrian civil war. We took them in, gave them medical treatment, food, protected them, when it meant putting ourselves at risk, right?
Yeah.
It meant that we had to go into Syria under fire, under civil war, and save Syrians. Nobody talks about that. I don't see anyone talking about how humanitarian we are, right?
Right.
And there's a sense in America that they always, if it's not about Israel or the Jews, nobody wants to talk about it, right? If the Jews, and it's honestly ridiculous at this point. It's a joke. Within our community, we joke about it. Oh, it's not the Jews, so nobody wants to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
We need to wake up. We need to wake up and realize that there is a force that is threatening our way of life. And it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or you're Christian or whatever it is, if you believe in those rights, if you enjoy your privileges as an American citizen, which I know I am.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have to come together. We're always going to have differences. We're two siblings with the same father. Siblings fight. It's okay. As long as at the end of the day, we hug it out and we move forward as one unit. And I'm going to be the one that takes that first step and focuses on our commonalities, on our shared values, shared beliefs. I mean, and we're expressing it right now. Look, the Netanyahu-Trump alliance is fantastic. I mean, the Maduro thing, China, oil, we can talk about this for hours, but that was a strategic move, and it was legal. Yeah. It was legal to do it. It made the world a better place.
Right.
Bottom line, period. When you want to make the world a better place, I'm for it. I'm for it. And when you look at Israel today, Israel, back in June with Iran, in a matter of days, controlled Iranian airspace. 100%. We were flying American F-35s in the Iranian skies like it was nothing, like it was eating peanuts on a Sunday baseball game. And we showed to the world something. First of all, those are great planes.
Oh yeah.
But the second of all, we're not going anywhere. If you thought, and we exposed the Iranian bluff. They're really not as strong as we thought they were. Now, granted, they didn't use their entire ballistic missile arsenal, but honestly, Israelis and look, I was there, by the way. Funny story, when I was interviewing for this job to be the executive director of the Federation here, I was interviewing from Israel because one of my good friends, he's the consul general of Israel in Houston. So he oversees Arkansas as well. He's coming to visit very, very soon too. I was there for his wedding, right? So the consul general, he calls you, hey, I'm getting married. I want you to come to my wedding. You go to the wedding, right? It was in Israel. And the chuppah, where the groom and the bride under the chuppah, it was stopped because of ballistic missiles flying from Iran in June, and we got stuck there, right? So I had to interview for this position from the Bombshelter. And then in order to come here for the week of interviews, or the ground interviews, I had to take a 30-foot sailboat from Haifa, the north of Israel, cross the Mediterranean over to Cyprus, to Larnaca. Okay. 25-hour voyage on a 30-foot sailboat, just so I can make it here to Arkansas. Now, you tell me that's not divine intervention. When people ask me, what are you doing in Arkansas? I'm like, listen, the only way I can explain it is it's God sent. I mean, it is truly, when you think of where I lived and what I was doing before, that is the only way to explain it.
And now he's making me feel bad because I stood at the register going, how dumb is that young couple out there? They're moving from Florida to Arkansas,
It was a God thing, Larry.
Well, apparently God didn't let me in on it.
He didn't ask your permission.
Wow. I mean, I got to tell you, we could talk for hours, and I think Kathy is sitting here, and she warned me. Yeah. She said you guys could get going and go for hours, and that is absolutely true. One of the things that the Federation does is I've been all over your website, and you have...
The new one or the old one, by the way, because we just launched the new one.
I hope I'm on the new one. Jewisharkansas.org.
That's us.
Okay. Yeah. All right. you have on here FBI Community Active Shooter Training.
Yes.
That is coming up February the 22nd, rather. Now, Randy, let me read this. This is directly off of your website, okay? Mm-hmm. It says, recent FBI data confirms that the Jewish community remains the most targeted religious group in the United States, accounting for over 60% of all religiously motivated hate crimes. That makes me actually want to apologize to the Jewish community on behalf of my country. It breaks my heart. I mean, I literally have tears coming to my eyes at this moment to think that we will allow a group of people to be picked on like this and not stop it. But that's how out of control and deteriorated America has become. And I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that caught my eye on this website, it says RSVP to receive the location.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love that you mentioned that, by the way. That is so great that you mentioned that one.
Well, I have to ask, okay? Yeah. First of all, we're doing an FBI active shooter training. Number two, if I wanted in on this or somebody wants in on this, they have to send an email. And what are you doing? Are you actually investigating to see it? Or can you even say that?
First of all, this is a very, very exciting event that we're actually doing with Agape Church and Commission Fields with Kathy Dorch.
Okay.
And this is so exciting because it is our first collaboration on an actual event, right? And when Kathy and I were talking, we're like, you know what? We need to do more things together. And I said, why? We had this situation where I had to actually speed things up. But I said, hey, why don't we do this, right? We work with the FBI. I have a very, very strong relationship with the Little Rock FBI and, Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, the DHS. Why don't we collaborate on an active shooter training? Let's do this together, side by side. And Kathy loved the idea. And she said, absolutely. So, we contacted, or Kathy contacted Pastor Scott, Agape Church. They absolutely loved it. They agreed. I mean, the Agape Church and Family Church, Brian, they're like home. They're like my second home, basically. I feel absolutely welcome there, and I love going there every chance I get. So the location is actually, we work with Secure Community Network, and it's something that Jewish communities do. They don't tend to actually publish the location out of a security responsibility to our people, right? We don't want to share the location because we don't want people to plan attacks, right? So what we do is
what I was going for.
We say register, right?
Yeah,
we want to know who's intending on coming,
right?
And then we will share with everyone the location. Maybe.
And do you do some kind of a background check on the people that want to sign up? For extra security?
It really depends on the type of an event.
Okay.
If, for example, we see someone that we don't know their name, right? I mean, we're a small community, especially here in Little Rock. If we see someone that we don't know their name, we might give them a call, see what their interest in the event is, right? Like, we'll do something like that. But in terms of security, of course, this one specifically is with the FBI. So we're going to have FBI agents over there and, obviously Agape and Family Church Bryant and Commission Fields, security teams. So, and obviously, I'm an Israeli that served in a special forces unit, and I was a Krav Maga instructor actually too. Do you know Krav Maga? Krav Maga is the Israeli military, hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, okay,
gotcha. I was an instructor, so I feel very, very comfortable with my firearms.
I was a yellow belt, so that's as far as I
nice. But this is why I love that you mentioned that, because that is what Jewish communities have to do. Right? You talked about statistics. Wow. We have to do that. We can't even publish where it is we're going to do something because we're afraid that someone will plan something and attack. Because, look, we're seeing it increasing around the country. We're seeing it.
Sure.
We've had 2 instances in the community here in Little Rock where someone showed up to services. We had no idea who they were. They left their backpack in the service area. We had no idea who they were. So look, I will say, the Jewish community of Arkansas is very open, welcoming, warm. We love everyone, but we also understand the threats and the risks of being Jewish in America today. And we're not going to be naive about it. We're going to say, look, we're going to defend ourselves. We're going to defend ourselves, and we're going to work with our community partners and absolutely, tenfold our Christian family, and say, we got to do this together, because I think standing together makes us a lot stronger overall. Just makes us both stronger, united. The Jewish community, one of the things I love the most about us is that even with all the attacks and even with our history, we have so much empathy, and we value people, and we value their experiences, and we value, opinions. I mean, you know what the joke is, right? Like there's this famous joke. You get two Jews in one room, you get 17 opinions, right? Like two Jews, 3 opinions. That's the joke. And because to us, and that's how I grew up, right? I didn't grow up with the separation of religion and state. I took Bible classes in public school growing up. There is this thing in Judaism that says, wrestling with the text is it's a Jewish value, like questioning, right? Like not just taking something, because when you read the Bible in Hebrew is a very, very multi-dimensional language, right? Every verse in the Bible can be interpreted in many different ways, which actually is very, that's the magic in it, right? Because it applies to different day scenarios. In 2026, it is still the most relevant document that we have. Right? And one of the things we do in Israel is we dissect it, right? Like we take a verse and we say, how did this rabbi interpret this saying? How did this rabbi say that? How can we look at it from different aspects of life? English in that sense is a lot more one-dimensional, right? So like if you read a verse, it can really be interpreted in pretty much one way. Hebrew is completely the opposite, right? And disagreeing is okay for us, right? Like you should see Israelis like, I would love to take you both to Israel. I mean, seriously, I would love to take you to Israel and show you my Israel. We can argue, we can yell at each other. We can you would think that the world is about to explode, and 2 seconds later we're drinking coffee together, we're doing l'chaim, everything is okay. So disagreement in Israel is very much a part of who we are, and that's okay as long as we understand, hey, there's a bigger picture here. Mm-hmm. And for us Israelis and Jews, there's always going to be a bigger picture. There's always going to be an existential threat. There's always going to be, we might not, and this is why you can go to the IDF and see Hasidic Jews wearing their tzitzit, but their uniform, and they're carrying their M16 or M4 with the mods and everything, and they're fighting side by side next to an Israeli guy like me that doesn't keep kosher and doesn't go to synagogue.
All of the arguing and all of that you're talking about, that is through, from what I understand, is an open-mindedness to where you have your opinion, I've got my opinion. We argue, we debate, but then we unify. And that's why Israel, you see the unity that you've talked about on this show.
Yep.
So can anyone come to this particular FBI community active shooting?
Yeah. I mean, register, reach out to us, absolutely. Would
Folks,
love that.
if you will go to Jewisharkansas.org, that's Jewisharkansas.org, and I went to the website, easily found it. It's on Sunday, February the 22nd of 26 this year, and it's from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if you will click on the link, or there's a phone number that you can call, or you can simply send an email to sign up. And when you do that, then they will contact you and give you the location. Mm-hmm. And I'm personally going to do that. I'm very interested in coming to that.
Amazing.
And I want to do that. Randy, you want to go with me?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, I mean, I really am. I'm excited about, because if you'd have said no, you can't go. I'm like, well, can you get me in on a special pass?
You can absolutely. I would love to have you there.
Okay, let's plan on that. Randy and I'll show up. I'll sign us both up, and we'll do that.
And by the way, this is just the first.
The wives?
Absolutely. My wife will showing up.
Okay.
And this is just the first in a many, a very, very large series of events we're going to do together with our Christian family. We're also going to just a quick, I guess, snip. We're also planning a leadership trip to Israel.
Oh, okay.
For both Christians and Jews in this community. And Kathy and I are planning it. We're working on it. We want to do it around October for the 3rd anniversary of October 7th. We want to go to Israel. We want to see it with our own eyes. And it's going to be amazing. We want leaders. We want people to step up. We want to show the community, guys, step up and lead.
Yeah.
Lead by example. And
will all that be on the website?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Enrico, will you make Randy and I one promise while we're on the air?
I mean,
One
it
promise.
really depends on the
You
promise,
better,
but
yeah,
okay.
there you go. You better ask him.
Yeah. Will you come back and be a guest again on our podcast?
1,000,000%. Absolutely. Would love to.
I cannot tell you, I've just so enjoyed this show. I know Randy has.
Sure.
And it is so exciting. Hey, you're looking at two old pawpaws that we just like to talk and, we just, yak but your passion, your wisdom, your knowledge has just been a breath of fresh air. And I want to applaud you right now and tell you, we would love to have you back and just kind of be a regular guest of ours.
That's right.
And if you say, hey, Larry, I got something to talk about. I'm going to give you all of my personal, stuff, cell phone, all that. And so before we leave the studio, I want to get that for you. And that way you can just say, hey, I got something new. And if you can't get out here to the studio, we'll bring you in on a live feed and we can do that. I've just got to tell you that we've so enjoyed having you on here.
Right.
And thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm confident that you have enjoyed this show. I don't know. What's the old saying? If this didn't light your fire, your wood's wet. I mean, this is a pretty good show. And yeah, I speak from an old fart's point of view. I'm a boomer. I know I'm an old pawpaw, but this is some good stuff that we have talked about. And America, I've got to be honest with you. You better wake up.
All right.
Because we are on the brink of losing our country. America will never be overtaken from the outside. But what we're on the brink of is seeing America destroyed and brought to ruin
From the inside.
From the inside. So, heed my words. Keep listening to our podcast. And if we've got on Rumble, we've got video on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify. We're on all the podcast platforms. Please subscribe to us, like our shows. Tell your friends, your family. Let them know who we are, where we're at, where we can be found. We're going to continue this. We're going to give 2026 the biggest run for its money that we possibly can on this podcast. And we want you to come along for the ride and invite all your family and friends. So please do that for us. And as I always tell you, I hope that you will have a great day.